All right, guys, so we just went over what the aperture is and how it works. Now, many of you at home are going to be using your cell phones. Now, I want to make this point very clear. The aperture settings on your phone are a software-driven product. It's not actually controlling the exposure, okay? So what we're going to be doing is many of you have aperture control or portrait modes that will simulate the depth of field look. Okay, so it's going to blur the background. Now, again, most of the phones have a fixed aperture. So again, it is not changing the exposure. It is a software-driven blurring effect, okay? So what I want you to do is go into your phones and we're gonna work on the first step, part one, shallow depth of field, which are gonna be taking photographs of portraits, okay? So go ahead and we'll pull open our cameras here. All right, guys, now with my phone open, I'm going to use a little miniature cutout of myself that a student took a photo of me last year. Now, because this needs facial recognition, it's not going to actually see anything else. So if I move it to an object, it doesn't actually implement the software-driven blurring. But when you see that it recognizes a face, so what you'll do is you'll hit the little F at the top for f-stop. And then you can go down to 1.4. And then you can go up to 2.5, 2.8. And then go all the way 4, 5, 6, and then you can go on mine, it goes all the way to F16. And so you can actually see how it affects the blurring, which is the depth of field simulation. All right, so if your phone is set up like mine, and I have the iPhone X, if it has the 1.4, take a photo of a portrait at 1.4, then go to F4, take another photograph, then go to F8, and then F16. Now, if you have an Android or other models of iPhones and you have that ability to use the software-driven depth of field, go ahead and use a bracket of at least those four or around those four groups, okay? Go ahead and take some pictures inside. Go ahead and go outside, take some pictures. Have a couple different series of portraits taken. Now remember though, this is just simulating the idea of depth of field. It's not actually an aperture creating depth of field or an aperture controlling exposure. It's not controlling the exposure in any way, just a software-driven blurring effect. All right? This hopefully still gives you the idea and understanding of the aperture. So in theory, and then when you actually are in the classroom again and able to use an actual camera and controlling the apertures on the lenses there, you'll have an understanding and be able to jump in and catch up real quick from that, okay?